We're still celebrating 25 years of joy. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Coming up, Ghana Revenue Authority (GRA) directs all professional bodies to demand tax clearance certificates from members before renewing their operational licenses. We'll tell you why this development. Also in the bulletin, ratings agency Moody's ties up upgrade of country's credit worthiness to improve debt and revenue position. Plus, the Ghana Stock Exchange and the Association of Securities Exchange in Africa orient businesses on efficient sustainability reporting standards. These are headlines, but we have other stories coming up in the next 25 minutes of business. The marketplace. Don't worry. Many thanks for watching. Welcome back to the marketplace. Now, as Ghana's financial market continues to expand, limited amount of information available to prospective investors continues to remain a challenge to regulators. In dealing with this issue, the Ghana Stock Exchange, with support from the Association of Securities Exchanges in Africa, is orienting businesses on the local bears and the efficient sustainability of reporting standards. There's more in this report.
Even though Ghana's financial markets continues to remain buoyant, investors home and abroad often lack the requisite market information needed to make investment decisions. In dealing with this challenge, the Ghana Stock Exchange, under the auspices of the Association of Securities Exchange in Africa, is taking some listed companies through sustainable reporting standards. It will help identify and manage risks and enable organizations to seize new opportunities. Ekwafeti is the MD of the Ghana Stock Exchange.
The key objective is to introduce our market to the global reporting standards, especially the non-financial reporting standards, apart from the financial, which most of them do.
Speaking to Joy Business, Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ogbamitete, explained steps his outfit is taking to develop Ghana's financial market.
When it comes to environmental, social, and governance standards, which is feeding into the sustainable reporting, it's a trend which all over the world, especially global markets, are basically pursuing. Now, Ghana, the capital market in Ghana for that matter, we are looking at making a transition from a frontier market to an emerging market. That definitely would require that we scale up in terms of our reporting standards, what we require of issuers or our operators in terms of their operations, their activity. The whole concept about sustainable or sustainability reporting deals with a departure from the traditional focus on profitability metrics.
Ghana is ranked 117th out of 133 countries on the 2020 Financial Security Index.
The Bank of Ghana is taking steps to fast-track the country's quest to go cashless and improve payment systems in the country. The Central Bank Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, has in this regard inaugurated a Payments Advisory Committee to aid this process. George Rafael witnessed the inauguration. He's joining right here for more details. Now, George, what's the workings of this committee?
So we understand that these the members are drawn from the various sectors in the economy. You can talk about the telecom center, you can talk about legal, you can talk about banks as well. And these members are coming together to play more of an advisory role in terms of how do we improve the payment systems in the country. So those various committees are going to forward their advice. So maybe when it comes to the area of payment in the country, i.e., the merchants out there and all the rest, how can it be done? When it comes to government services and payment, how should it be structured to ensure that we have a very smooth system? So all of these members drawn from the various sectors of the economy or players, when it comes to the telcos, when it comes to legal, when it comes to the commercial banks, are drawn to this committee that is chaired by the governor of the Bank of Ghana, and they are going to advise the Bank of Ghana on what to do.
And what is going to be the focus of the committee?
Basically, more of an advisory role in terms of put your advice and various recommendations to the Bank of Ghana that this is how you're supposed to do when it comes to putting in place policies, when it comes to implementing certain policies, when it comes to seamless payments in the various sectors of the economy. And all these things are aimed at moving towards a cash light in the full cashless society. Don't forget that the government recently said that barring any challenges this year, they would activate or make it possible when it comes to government transactions that it will be a cashless system. And government believes that this is one of the ways that they can use to block the loopholes within the system, where some say that monies are paid all right, but it doesn't get to government coffers. So when you roll out this platform, it'll be a little bit quite easier to, again, block all those corruption loopholes. Also, even in tracking revenue, because then you're able to do some extrapolations that on a daily basis, when the passport services opens for transactions, when the Registrar General Department opens for transactions, they're able to get X amount of money. That would again even impact on the revenue plan, because you're able to track from even from the Ministry of Finance that on a daily basis, this is what they are realizing in terms of government transactions. And that is going to go a long way to improve revenue, which has been one of our biggest challenges in this country.
Now, one concern is not, are their roles not going to be duplicating, because we have some kind of internal committees?
Yeah, you're right, and that is just at the Bank of Ghana. But when you're rolling out this national project, it's moved beyond just personnel in the Bank of Ghana. There are other sectors in the economy that will play a critical role. One can talk about the telcos, that you can't leave them out, because now they have been licensed to do more of fully fledged banking services. You could even talk about the fintechs. They're also playing a quite critical role in all these things. So it looks like you can't take these players out of it and say that you're just going to rely on those who are working in the Bank of Ghana to do this. And that is why they are expanding the role of whatever advisory committee when it comes to payment system and bringing in all these persons on board. It's all about moving towards CASHLESS, and how do you bring all these players together to support the Bank of Ghana in their quest to help us become a CASHLESS country.
Do we know who chairs the committee?
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, of course, and others in the chair of this committee. And it's critical because, and then what will be the committee's advice when they're advising the Bank of Ghana? The governor as a person to chair in the committee. Don't forget, the Bank of Ghana is not just about the governor. You have a whole board, you have a whole management. So the good thing about this is that the committee that is chaired by the governor of the Bank of Ghana is going to put together a report laid before the board of the Bank of Ghana that is chaired by the governor of the Bank of Ghana and the bank management as well. So it means that things could be fast-tracked for us when all these players bring their concerns. That should be led by the governor, who also chairs the board of the Bank of Ghana.
Thank you very much for that update, George Riafe. Now, ratings agency Moody's has disclosed that any upgrade of Ghana's creditworthiness would be based on improving debt levels and revenue position. Here's more on Moody's latest annual credit report on Ghana.
Moody's in its annual report argued that this review from B3 to B2 when it comes to Ghana's credit ratings would be guided by government's commitment to reducing its debt to an appreciable level. Moody's also argues that improved revenue collections going forward could possibly impact on the credit ratings upgrade that is from B3 to B2. According to the Bank of Ghana, the country's total debt stock stands at 215 billion cedis ending November 2019. Moody's was, however, quick to add that the country could still be kept at B3 status if they are not convinced that government is not taking steps to improve its rising debt levels. Moody's recently reviewed the country's credit ratings outlook from negative to positive. This, Moody's argues, was based on the rising confidence in the country's institutions as well as fiscal stability recorded over the years and how government has managed the economy post the IMF program. For some, an improved credit rating would impact positively on cost of borrowing as well as prevent government from introducing new taxes or hike rates to deal with these challenges. According to the 2020 budget, government is also planning to set aside some 20 billion cedis for interest payments.
Now, Ghana is going to spearhead trade talks and partnerships as it hosts one of the largest gatherings of CEOs of trade promotion organizations at this year's World Trade Promotions Organization Conference in May. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, won the bid to host this year's event after beating fellow bidders Egypt, Turkey and Kenya. Speaking at the meeting with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority on Ghana's readiness to host the conference, the Executive Director for the International Trade Center, Dorothy Tembo, said hosting the event in Ghana is timely as the nation hosts the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Sheila Tamaklu reports.
The World Trade Promotion Organization's conference is expected to host about 250 delegates from across the world. CEOs of trade promotion organizations will get to discuss innovations and effective practices to support export development and partnerships, among other trade issues. With Ghana being the host of this year's event, the Executive Director of the International Trade Commission, Dorothy Tambo, said Ghana is the perfect host nation.
And we think this is an opportune time for us to be in Ghana, which we see as one of the leading countries that has provided leadership to the continent in terms of what can be done to ensure that you're moving over with the trade and development agenda. So it makes complete sense for us to be here in Ghana, but it also gives the opportunity to the different trade and investment support institutions to get together and discuss how the different institutions can function better in terms of fulfilling that objective of having a better Africa.
However, in the wake of the coronavirus and concerns of spreading at large gatherings, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has assured safety measures will be put in place for the event.
So because of the coronavirus, we are giving ourselves up to the middle of April to make a firm decision on whether we should go ahead and hold it in May or postpone it. So as I'm talking to you, we are still watching the situation. It's not just being organized by GEPA alone. It's being organized between GEPA and International Trade Center, as well as stakeholders in a big event that involves the whole nation like this. So you have various organizations and agencies being a part of it. I talked about the national security, for the security, for health. Purposely because of what is happening, we have to be in contact with them to know whether it is okay to go ahead and all of that. So we have people from all these agencies on the committee, the larger committee that is looking at putting it together. Yeah.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklu reporting.
We're taking a short break here. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has issued a directive to all professional bodies, including the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana and the Ghana Bar Association, among others, to demand tax clearance certificates from members before granting renewal of operating licenses. This directive, according to sources, is in line with the Tax Administrations Act, which enjoins professional bodies to make this a requirement for reviewing practices and licenses. Joining me in the studio with details of this directive is my colleague Norvan Akwa-Hafer. Norvan, what more is in this directive?
Okay, so Boaji, the directive is that reference is made specifically, and I want to just read portions of the directive that was issued to the professional bodies. It says reference is made specifically to the first schedule part 2 of the Revenue Administration Act, which states that professional bodies are to make this a requirement for renewal of practicing licenses. All governing councils or professional bodies such as lawyers, accountants, directors, engineers, architects, and others are to ensure that they enforce this particular law or they comply with it. And then the document does say that failure to comply with this provision is an offense punishable by law and strictly enforced by the GRA.
What does the GRA seek to achieve, or what is it seeking to achieve out of this directive?
I think that what the GRA wants to do at the moment is to help mobilize more revenue, and they are looking to ensure that they close all the loopholes with regards to revenue generation in this country. So at the end of the day, if you're going to have all the professional bodies also enforcing this for and on behalf of the GRA, then it means that anybody, any chartered accountancy firm would ensure that they would have paid their taxes and they'll be issued a clearance certificate, which would help them to get the renewal licenses this year.
Is a body like the GJA exempted from this?
Well, I think that when it comes to GJA, I mean, they as an organization, we are members. But what you see is that we belong to various organizations. We are supposed to be collecting the end-of-year assessment forms, filling them, because for me, the PAYE is paid for and on behalf of me by the company that I'm working with. So Multimedia Group is ensuring that they pay the taxes for me. So that is not much of a problem. But then, you have various, companies, hospitals. They belong to the Ghana Health, Ghana Medical Association. You have various other individuals, and they want to ensure that all these people pay the taxes that they have to pay. I think that is a good thing for the GRA to be doing that, ensuring that all the loopholes are blocked and we raise enough revenue to take care of the expansion, whether infrastructure or building of schools or free SHS, whatever it is that the government wants to do. We need money to be able to do these things.
All right, so since you're here, what is the latest with the GRA and the operation of the new port system, Unipass?
Interestingly, Abuaje, when it comes to the new port system, we managed to get hold of a document that was written on the 2nd of March by the GRA Commissioner. The undersigned person is Colonel Kojo Damwa, who is the Acting Commissioner, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. And if you would allow me just to read portions of it, it says that the implementation of the Integrated Customs Management System at the land frontiers dated 2nd March is hereby released for immediate implementation. All sector commanders are to ensure that this document copies gets to all of them. But one interesting statement that was made here, he said, for the avoidance of doubt, after they had gone on to talk about what they're supposed to do and all that, he said, for the avoidance of doubt, the use of the current clearance system, which is the GCNet and that of the West Blue, shall be restricted to transactions that require previous customs declarations processed in those systems and any other declarations that is yet to be released. And you have a list of the various areas, where they were looking at. They were looking at 16 posts or 16 entry points in terms of the land borders that we have to ensure that this was. So they're looking at a Lubo collection point, Sunyani, Gono Krum, Kofi Bedu Krum, Wa collection point, Hamile, Bolgatanga, Paga, Kulungugu, Ho, Kenu border, Polglo border of Plao, Kumasi, Kofodia, and Tamale. So they were looking at these areas, the entry points that were available. And I think that the explanation is very simple in this letter. It meant that at Elubo and then also at Aplao, what the GRA is saying is that if as of before the 1st, somebody had started the process, and you remember the GIFT president did indicate here that somebody might have started the process, you cannot just truncate it and cut it off.
So which is an indication that the West Blue system and the the other one
it's
are
still running
side by side.
Yes, it's running.
Directive from the senior minister.
Yeah, so it's running side by side, and so it is that they were supposed to do it. This morning I had spoken to the GIFT president, and he did indicate to me that look, you know what, we still haven't seen the new system, and there's explanations to it. We understand that this letter was issued on the 2nd. Now the customs officials who are supposed to be the ones who man the system had been posted, and most of them went to their various stations, we understand, on Sunday, which was on the 1st. Now they need to be able to get their credentials, which will allow them go into the system and man the new system that is available. We are told that by the GRA that at the moment these things are happening, and they are hoping that from tomorrow, from Monday, probably, all things being equal, Monday, the new system, people will then be directed to use the new system at these border entry points.
16 of them.
16 of them that we have here. Don't forget that the senior minister had written about 42 of them.
Exactly.
But we're told that it's not every place that is very, very extremely active. But the few places that are very active, especially at Lubo and Aplao, they will be deploying the new system there.
All right, hope you closely be monitoring the situation and bring us updates by next week.
Sure, definitely.
Thank you very much, Norvan Akwa Hayford. Away from that, co-founder of Design Thinking Hub Ghana, Dr. Gordon Ahomza, has emphasized consumer needs and wants as essential to businesses and entrepreneurs. He said customer preferences evolve over time, hence the need to employ design thinking approach to understand the customers for their interests. He was speaking as part of the 5th anniversary of the Business Solution outfit in Accra.
Businesses have been advised to apply some design thinking approach in solving problems to have a competitive advantage. According to the co-founder of Design Thinking Ghana Hub, Gordon Ahomza, there are a lot of businesses doing similar things. He said it is imperative to conduct regular market research to understand consumer needs and wants.
if you're a business, you want to come up with new ideas, new business models, the space is choked. You're more likely to come up with something that your competitor has already done or something that exists somewhere else. Most businesses have to come up with something new, right? And that's where you need design thinking, where you pause and you say, what should we do next? How do you do that, right? So that's really where that's the point where you need design thinking, because the traditional ways of doing research, the traditional ways of understanding information, it's not working anymore. The consumer has become more complex.
He noted design thinking will be one of the approaches to explore new ideas.
The proponents of design thinking have found that customer needs and preferences have become very complex. Today, we know that people don't buy things because it works. They buy because of how they feel about it or what it means to them, right? Somebody can say, there are two banks, I like one because when I enter the banking hall, I feel a certain way. But the two banks they do the same thing. Two types of computers, I like one because of how, when I carry it, how it makes me feel. It makes it really difficult as a designer to come up with something that makes people feel good, right? How do you design for people's emotions? The only way you do that is to go very, very deep. What does that mean? That's really difficult for companies. It's really difficult for entrepreneurs. So design thinking helps you. It takes a structured approach and guides decision makers, entrepreneurs, innovation officers.
Some businesses that have benefited from design thinking approach shared their experiences.
Our collaboration with the Design Thinking Ghana has significantly influenced how our startups think about problem solving and how they leverage the principles of design thinking to solve or to design solutions to problems.
First of all, understand who the consumer is, what the consumer wants, at what price they want to buy their product, and how they evolve over the period. So this process has helped our businesses that have been trained to be able to understand who their core target is and how to deal with them at every stage of growth.
Some organizations that have benefited from Design Thinking Ghana Hub include Stanbic Bank Ghana, MTN, Cosmos Energy and GIZ. Alberta BCU for Joy Business.
A lecturer at the University for Development Studies, Professor Said Al-Hassan, is advocating the construction of bigger dams which would serve better for irrigation instead of the many small ones under the One Village, One Dam projects of government. He said citing a dam for irrigation purposes is not a joke, noting that the dam in Paraguay cost $20 billion compared to dams being constructed under the One Village, One Dam at a cost of 2.5 million Ghana cedis. Professor Seidu made these remarks when he chaired the opening ceremony of the West Africa Center for Water and Irrigation Sustainable Agric in Tamale.
Professor Seidu Al-Hassan said government should prioritize and ensure the Palugu Dam is constructed, irrespective of which government is in power.
The battery dam that we are talking about cost Burkina government 64 million cedi. There is also another dam, the Samin Dinga or something like that. It cost the Burkina government 94 million euros. 2.5 million Ghana cedis. What do you expect? So I have been saying that if we really prioritize what our needs are, we could mobilize these resources and get the quality that we want to develop, pump all those monies in it for the time being, and we do a good job so that subsequent governments, when they come, they can continue.
And that will be it for the marketplace today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. For more business news, log on to mine, joyonline.com/business. Have a good afternoon.